motion to approve the assignment.
Welcome, everyone. We'll call the meeting to order. We will start with a prayer, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance and roll call. Dear Father, we thank you for this day and the freedom to meet. We ask for your blessings for our community. We ask for wisdom in our decision-making this evening. Thank you for the freedoms that we have been allowed to enjoy. Thank you for those that serve and protect us and our country. In your precious name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you for coming. May we have roll call, please?
Ridgway.
Present.
Jones.
Here.
Baker.
Here.
Barth.
Here.
Beverly. Bassett.
Here.
Thank you.
That's the one I signed.
You have the regular council meeting minutes in your packet from April 2nd. Does anyone have any additions or corrections?
I have a question, Mayor. We were speaking about the borderline contract, and we all agreed that notice to commence has not been written up according to the Ohio Revised Code. That's just explained. Has that been done?
Yes.
Wonderful.
Yep.
That's all I have, Mayor.
Okay.
I have none.
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
I second.
We have a motion to approve minutes in a second. Roll call, please.
Baker.
Yes.
Bassett.
Yes.
Beverly.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Ridgway.
Yes.
Barth.
Yes.
Thank you. We have the approved bills list in your packet. Does anyone have any questions about any of the bills on the list? Yes, sir.
On that park tractor, did we have to bid that, or should have been bid, or? I mean, I think it's a great thing they got a tractor, but
I don't think we ever.
What's the threshold for having to take a bid?
50,000.
You say?
Just be on equipment? Okay. And one other question. Police Chief Stickney. I see we put 9/19/19 in the old Crown Vic. Do you have any plans of rolling that out, getting new stuff?
We're gonna keep it in addition to getting a new vehicle.
Okay. Okay.
And that was for basically a lifetime brake job. We should never have to put brakes on it again. If that had been done originally, we wouldn't have to pay for that one this time.
Okay.
I had a question real quick if Ron's not done. Pool certificate from the health department, is that a yearly inspection kind of thing, or
Pardon?
is that an inspection or just?
Their yearly.
That's pretty much so you can pull up. Make a motion to approve the bills.
I'll second it.
Roll call, please.
Jones.
Yes.
Baker.
Yes.
Bassett.
Yes.
Beverly.
Yes.
Ridgway.
Yes.
Barth.
Abstain.
Okay. Well, I would like to introduce Taylor Klepper, if you don't know him. He is the newest member of our planning commission. So it's nice to have you here tonight. And I see we have something on the agenda tonight, a notice of public hearing by the Hicksville Planning Commission. It's a lot split application. The hearing's going to be held May 3rd at 5 p.m. at the Office of the Zoning Inspector, 108 North Main Street. And the lot split is on Arthur Street. So, anybody have any questions about that? Okay. We will then go on to the boards and commissions. We have minutes from the HIX-TV board from March 10th. Does anyone have any questions about the minutes from the HIX-TV meeting in March? We'll Go on to council committee reports. Streetlight Property Sidewalk Committee met March 1st. Ron, is that your committee?
Yes, ma'am.
Is there anything you'd like to let the public know here?
The only thing that I can add to that is item 7, discussed handicap parking on the nice north side of downtown. Committee felt more information was needed. I then in turn got an email from you, the mayor, that the woman had questioned regarding one between Christ Covered and the Huber. And at both locations, there are driveways that come off the street and go to handicap facilities. So in thinking what was existing, and if we install a designated handicap parking, we're gonna have to restripe that whole section. And so I never took it any further.
Okay. Would you call her, please, though, and give her your answer?
Sure.
Okay. I think I gave you the number.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I talked to her today,
Oh, okay.
and she's not really, she wants just access with a wheelchair on the sidewalk. She can't manhandle it up over the sidewalk. She's not really asking for a handicap. She already does it that way. Gets out and walks behind the vehicles and then gets him out and then brings him back around and goes down to the alleyways or whatever. She would like to have just some ramps so she can use a regular parking spot and just
Get up the curb
get up on the
without having to,
I'm sorry I interrupted you, but actually I said there's 3 spots.
right by the barber shop, right by the Huber, and down by the church is alleyways.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Church drive into the side of that
Yeah.
building. So there are 3 there.
Yep.
so is her concern then she's pushing his wheelchair behind all the parked cars?
No, she's walking behind him. Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And that, well, her big concern is she cannot get up the curb. So that's what she's doing now, is using it that way.
She can't get up those driveways?
The curb with the wheelchair. She's just using a regular parking spot, getting him out, and then going up there. And she would like to know if we could put a couple along there. They wouldn't have to be handicapped
Yeah,
wide, you know.
but still, somebody else would park in there and they couldn't use
Yeah.
it as a handicap.
Well, I thought of that too. So I thought if you could take and put it in between where 2 cars park.
Cut the curb
Yeah.
and make a handicap
Put one
ramp.
at each end of the town.
Okay.
You would, correct me if I'm wrong, but if we put in handicap parking, it has to be slated as such, and once again, we will restripe that whole
And
section.
you don't have to put handicap.
Yeah, you do.
To do that,
If you put in an ADA accessible ramp, then it must be indicated that way, and you will restripe it downtown, that section.
are you sure?
Yeah.
Troy?
Off the top of my head, I'd have to agree with that.
And you take the 3 driveways that we have. Okay, now do we put one in between each one?
I would put one down the Huber and down by the, actually, she goes to the Mexican restaurant the most, and she goes to the barber shop is where they, yeah.
Well, the problem then is, what if the other person in town that's in a wheelchair, he really goes to wherever? He
Well,
goes to
I
the
just-
Tribune and he goes to,
Yeah.
you know, wherever. I mean, you can't fix them based upon where one person
She don't want
goes.
this to create a problem.
understand. I
She
understand.
said that, you know, she told me, she,
I think I know who it is.
yeah, it's Peggy, but she don't want to create problems. She's just trying to help other people too, she thought, you know?
So how many handicap areas is there downtown, roughly?
Just off the top of my head.
Drugstore.
The only ones that are in front of the
From the
drugstore.
drugstore?
And she said them are really hard to get, you know?
Absolutely, and the ones beside the Tribune and the Huber there, that's, the church kind of puts those, they're not actually handicap
Right.
spots, but they use that on the weekends.
Mhm.
But I know during the mornings, they're usually full with the guys hanging up at the Huber, you know, they meet up there and they're full, but
The
usually
hand,
they park, yeah, beside the building.
beside the Tribune where the
Yeah.
handicap spots are?
Well, they're not physically quote handicapped.
They're not
spots.
legal handicaps,
No,
but
no.
do those guys need to park there, or could they move someplace else?
Well, they
Are
probably
they
could. They park-
handicapped?
No, I don't think so. I mean, they park all over. They're parked in my lot. They're
Right.
parked beside the Hubride. It's just they get together.
Maybe
and
as a
kinda hang out,
courtesy,
but,
maybe they could just not
leave
park in
Leave
those.
one of them open or something
Yeah.
if somebody needs to use them.
I
That way
said-
they don't have to go up any ramps. They just go right down the street.
I suggested that she use that spot, but maybe
Absolutely.
it's not open when she wants it, I don't know, but if those guys don't need to park there, maybe they would park someplace else too.
Leave one of them
Ours
open
is
or
a couple
something.
of
So,
There's only two, there's two.
that
We're
would help
talking
her down
about
that
at the
side of
Huber
town.
itself.
Well, it's actually city owned there. It's that alley there, and it's got that,
Okay.
where the old restaurant used to be years ago, right beside the
So-
building.
Could you put a sign there?
Well, there is signs there right now.
There is, but,
They
okay,
just plunked some signs there,
Yeah,
they're not
they're not
official
official
handicap
handicap.
all right.
parking signs.
I mean, you own, or city owns that lot. You could make it, could you make it official handicap parking
They've
right
got
there?
handicap parking signs up there, that it is official.
Ooh, not us. The church did it.
The signs.
They just put them in,
Yeah.
they put them in a cement can, you know.
Oh, for when,
Yeah.
when church.
Right.
Like as a courtesy, you know,
Right.
like, hey, we
Yes.
want these for handicap.
Because their handicap access ramp is on that side of the buildings.
But you couldn't ticket somebody for parking in a handicap spot because it's not an official handicap
Right,
spot.
right.
For I'm not sure if I'm able to speak.
Go ahead.
With spacing, with your spacing, you can eat up 3 spots and create 2 handicap spaces and still get your width for your required space for access. It would take 3 spots to make 2 ADA compliant spaces.
Correct.
And in that center stripe space, you could do a curb cut.
Right.
That could be done.
Yeah.
And only eat 3 spaces up and not have to restripe the entire street.
Why don't
Who
the,
wants to?
Who wants to?
That would be,
That
there
would
would
be
be
true.
2 ADA spaces, but you would.
Lose
you'd have
3.
parking
You just have them side by
spaces.
side.
Mhm.
You'd lose one parking spot.
Yes.
and if you put in one handicap parking space along a driveway, would that eliminate needing 2 parking spaces for one handicap?
That would cut into your access for
No,
your
okay.
driveway.
All right. Well, I'll tell you, Sheila and the committee, Ron and Larry, if you guys want to discuss this further, and if you feel like there's a need or anything, please do so, but we'll stand with your answer as you have it right now in your minutes.
And trust me, I want to try to keep everybody happy in the village, but, you know, when this was laid out professionally for the town twice, there's a system they go by. Jim just reminded me of it. You have to have so many handicap spots for so many parking spots. And we are legal.
Compliant, okay,
We're in compliance.
okay.
Okay.
That's the key.
Could you,
Right now, we're in compliance.
okay. Could you tell me what your discussion was on North Maple Street, because I don't know what that was.
You wanted to park on the side of the street.
Oh, yeah.
We all voted no.
I don't know what it's about, though.
Oh, they wanted to park in the street,
Along the curb.
After the four-way stop.
like from where the Grange Hall is on the corner and go straight. They wanted to park along the street.
Well, it's
Oh,
not
both
very
sides?
wide.
There's already parking on one side. They want,
One side they wanted to.
they want it on the other side, too.
No, there's no parking on that section that I know of. There's no.
Between Cornelia and Smith Street.
Oh, between Cornelia
Yeah.
and Smith. Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
all right. I was thinking
No.
You was thinking-
Smith and High.
Cornelia and Smith.
Okay, all right, all righty. Anybody else have any questions from Ron or the committee on their report? All right. Thank you for meeting and taking care of that business. We'll go on to Water Sewer Refuge Committee meeting on April 12th. Can you enlighten us on that meeting?
I did it at that night that we had it right before last.
With
council
all your,
meeting. I think I
okay,
threw
and
it
these
through
are
all
just
of
your
them.
minutes then.
Cheryl brought up a good thing, and Roberta said she would do this. I brought up committee, though. Maybe having Roberta from RCAP come up and explain the whole concepts behind the GIS system, and also their programs and their kind of set plans for the village, but also the water asset management plan. And she said she's spending, looking at one was, the asset management plan was 20 and the GIS system was 22. I don't think she sent any contracts or anything in yet. But maybe have her come up next meeting and talk about that. She's helped us a lot with anything we had going on with the, especially EMHT and long-term control plan. Andy from EPA is coming up on the 19th, and I think Jim was going to address that. The question I had real quick before our meeting, and I put some notes in there about the back truck and everything, we talked about that evening. And we also talked about the not paying underground utilities for their request. We had received a letter here late today from Kim Kearns addressing that, so I think you got copies of all that in front of you there, and Jim got that here late this afternoon, I think. So I know they looked at, they brought in a, unless you want to explain that later, Jim, they brought in a sample truck, kind of show what it does, but my question is, I know Cheryl brought it up, and maybe Troy, is, does that have to go out for bid with a truck that size, or I don't know how the state, you said state?
Now with the state co-op.
Under the state purchasing, I think I think you automatically can buy that for the state purchasing.
VACCON.
If you buy it
dropped
from
their-
like private or whatever, then you, if it's over the 50, you have to bid it.
Where we're at now is the mayor asked me to get bids from local banks, so.
Okay.
I would just like to
Before
see
we-
what kind of interest rate the local
Right.
banks would
Right.
offer us if we're gonna borrow money. I'm not saying I'm for borrowing money, but if we are, I'd like to see what they have to offer.
Sure.
So anybody else have any more questions about,
But that's as low a bid as we would get, is at 317 for a new VACCON. That's as low as you could get through the state. Because it's through the state purchasing program, so.
Is there only one company?
They have the bid, they have the bid, yeah.
What kind of truck was down there parked in front?
That was a VACCON, not a VACTUR, yeah. It's kind of the one that meets our specs too.
Okay.
They were able to get
Big
that
one.
problem resolved at the bank. As a matter of fact,
You had, okay.
working at it, we found one of the bank's double check valves stuck inside the pipe downstream a ways, and they were able to get that out too. So it had come off the bank's lateral and gotten into the main, and it was stuck in the main, and they were able to get that out, so thing's really powerful.
I thought, wow, that was a nice truck. I thought maybe that was a demo.
No, we know better.
I saw it.
We don't need a dually.
that's a bigger truck.
I saw it.
That truck is folding on its way to Kentucky.
That was,
That's a demo,
I didn't
that's a
see it,
demo.
but it was bigger here than what we're looking at.
But the similar specs with the hydro excavation part of it, that's a big one. I'm thinking going forward, the importance of that is, like with Sherwood Mutual in town, we've got a lot of areas where one residence will have within a 4-foot area buried electric, buried fiber optic, buried water, and we would have to be hand digging that in order to be sure we don't hit anything. This can just suck up all the dirt, and then there's your underground. And efficiency-wise and manpower and productivity, it would be huge. Plus, you look at like workers' comp, you're saving people's backs, you're hopefully not getting as many workers' comp claims and things like that.
I wanted to get down there today to see that operate, but how many people did they use to operate that, to do that job today? One
Basically
person?
2, yeah. 2 people. One could do it. It's got a remote, we asked for the remote option. So you can work it with a remote actuator. It's got everything on it, but you don't have to be in the front of the truck. You can be in the rear of the truck or wherever, but 2 should be there just for safety reasons.
Did you do any grinding with it today?
We did not, but they've got, there's grinders that come with it that I think would take care of our problem on West High.
Okay. Did you see it demonstrate any grinding?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How did it get that valve out of the pipe?
They just kept working at it. It was, they had a 1-inch hose and ours is 3/4.
So it loosened up, got into the main. You had
Yes,
to move it to get it.
yeah, and that could have been part of the reason it was stopping up. They got down about 198 feet or 190 feet and they kept hitting something, and eventually they were able, when they got through it, on their way back through, they were able to keep pulling it back. And I think that's when Jimmy crawled down in the manhole and
Couldn't get the hose out of the hole.
couldn't get the hose out of the hole because the backflow preventer was hung up on it, and it's kind of neat.
We were out there a while.
Yeah, pretty much all afternoon.
In the blizzard? Thank you for your report.
Nope,
You had a
anybody
lot
else
of,
look as a question,
lot of
so-
things to write there. Okay, so then, it's on the agenda that Mike Bailey met with Whirler April 12th, general meeting to discuss any issues by either party. And, does anybody have anything to add about that meeting?
How'd that go?
I wasn't there.
I was there. It was good.
Spoilers happening?
I think Whirler's doing a great job. The guys that ride in the trucks, they actually get out and pick stuff up if it falls out of their truck as they're trying to dump it in. I've been really impressed with them.
I have too.
If they read something in the newspaper, not the Tribune, they get a little nervous, bad publicity. So they just want to make sure things are okay. So they're happy to.
Yeah. Oh, you go right ahead.
We had a police, fire, and EMS council committee meeting, 5 o'clock today before this meeting. So I know there's going to be a few topics here you guys might want to think about before next meeting, unless you guys are okay with talking about it tonight. First item we talked about was Chief Silcott was looking at a new barcode system for supplies for the EMS. For the EMSs, when he had come on board, he had noticed there's some low on inventory items that we need or should have in stock, and some items that were outdated. And he was looking at this more medical. That was a $300 system to be able to track and help with ordering inventory and date it. And so that's one item he's looking into. Also, he's done a lot of work on trying to recoup some of the bills from all the way back from 2010 he's been looking into. You can only go back so many years, and at the last council meeting, we had said that the committee would like for him to just focus on the 2015 to present, when the EMS department actually started taking over the billing, and that was the largest sum of it anyways, was during that time frame. And so he was kind of hoping for council's approval to be able to write off, and he has already talked with Cheryl on it too, so be able to write off, so kind of clear up the books, the older stuff, the 2010 through 2014 year. And you're okay with it? Not okay with it, or?
Do those names have to be listed like we always did with the income tax people in the past?
No, that's why I never ask you to write it off, because I won't give their names out.
Majority of it, he's
We used to
coming
always
up.
get a list whenever we wrote it off.
Oh, yes. We used a list.
That was in the old days,
Yeah.
pre-HIPAA.
Yep.
You don't get names now.
Whether you're a hippie or not.
Pre-hippies.
Somebody needs to have a
If
record of
we-
what we're writing off.
If we say that, well, we will.
We'll have records
EMS
of
will,
the names.
It's not named.
but we can't publish them.
We never published them, but
That's right.
we knew what was going on.
The committee.
Because a lot of
Did the
times-
committee look at it? I know I saw it.
The council did,
Yeah.
because we'd look at the list
Yeah,
and
the
we'd say,
committee
well, this
saw it,
person
so-
still lives here, and this person still lives here, and that person still lives here, so how's come they haven't paid?
He's got to go through a lot of work just trying to recoup from 2015 on, but
That's why I never asked you to write them off, because I knew you'd want to know who they were, and it doesn't matter. And I would get in trouble, and I'm not. Period.
I'll make that motion to write up to 2014.
Are we gonna
2010
give
through
a dollar
2014.
amount? Are we gonna hear a dollar amount?
How much
Are
are we
we-
writing off?
Remember,
Do you have any idea how much you're writing off?
215?
no.
We were writing off $129,287.28.
129,000.
It's uncollectible.
Yeah, most of it's uncollectible. Some of it you can't go back that many years in the first place. Some are non-transport, that you're not going to get money out of.
One thing I talked to Bruce about is maybe increasing the amount of money we're charging for those runs we're going to, but we're not transporting, because I'm not sure they're breaking even with the personnel that we're sending there to pick someone up off the floor, which is a nice service, but we should at least break even.
And he and I talked about some of those things to do with the charges, and I reminded him that we gotta, if we're gonna do that, we gotta make sure we're on the same cycle with our other contracts, because we don't wanna be charging village residents more than what township residents that we're covering for other people are being charged. I mean, that seemed quite kosher. And so if we wanna do that at the next round, when those contracts come up, that would be the time that, hey, we're raising our rate, which means we'll collect that same amount from, for you and factor that into what we're charging the other, because if you remember on those townships, the township's paying us a flat amount, so we're getting paid for our run, but we're then billing the customer and collecting for them. And like I said, I don't even know what the rate is for when you show up, but there's no transport. Let's just say it's $200, and then we up ours for village residents, but we can't up theirs until the contracts are up. And so village residents getting charged $200 and a Mark Township person's getting charged $100. That doesn't seem quite.
Our fire contracts do not mention EMS rates on them. That's not part of the contract, correct?
They do. They absolutely
They do.
Okay.
Yeah. ALS rate, BLS, transport.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if
Just-
it's Medicaid, there's only a flat,
Well, they pay
low
whatever, doesn't matter.
87 or.
Yeah, Medicaid
it's-
does.
Yeah.
Just to be clear though, Bruce, that $129,000 you're asking to get written off is also the share that, the difference between what we build and what Medicare's paying, what we build and what Medicaid paid. And so it's not collectible money anyway. I assume that part of it might be a little portion of the difference between,
What you're at, what we're looking to write off is bills that Medicaid wasn't written off before. Whenever you get a Medicaid check, okay, if it's a $500 run, and I'll just use round figures, if it's a $500 run, we collect $87 and we have to write off the rest, and we cannot go after the rest. So part of that could be that, part of it's going to be Medicare, part of it's going to be bills that were sent out and just nobody ever,
pursued collecting them.
well,
Over
never-
6
it
years
never-
old, though, we can't go back and try to collect
And
it.
it never got, or it just never got collected. And that's what we're running into now with the 2015, 2016, 2017. I will say, for those of you, I have been sending out a lot of 2017 stuff, and I have been collecting. I talk to Cheryl, like I said, 2-3 times a day, and the bills that I have been sending out, people are responding to. So
Good.
Can I ask a question or a suggestion, whatever you're gonna say? Can we put this down so that we as a council can look at it and go, okay, I can see where this is going, we never will get that, we won't get that. Something we can look at before we make a vote on it.
So you would like to see how much is Medicaid,
Out
how
of,
much?
yeah, out of that $129,000, just exactly what the bottom line is that we're gonna give up. I hate to vote on setting fire to $129,000 when I don't even know what I'm talking about. I mean, I'm all for it, we've done it several times since I've been on council, because it's like you say, it cannot be collected. I'd just like to look at it before I,
So you'd like to know how much was Medicare, how much was Medicaid, how much we didn't collect from residents at all that are private pay before you vote on it?
basically, like, I think you're the one that used to do it, except now we won't have names.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Okay,
Does that sound fair, Bruce?
I'll have it for you next meeting.
okay,
Thank you.
I dropped my motion, I made a motion, so I'll drop it for now.
okay.
The next topic, we had one from the fire chief, Kramer, and the old ladder truck. I guess called Tower 501. They went and got a price for having it towed, which was really cheap, and having it repaired. The total cost of towing and repairing that ladder truck for the transmission, which would be a 2-year warranty on it, comes in just a little bit under $6,000. And Chief Kramer said, this is the only thing that's not working on it right now. The ladder still works. The truck still has a value of around $50,000 even for its age, and he recommends getting that fixed. If you'd like to buy one like that, it'd be about $1 million to purchase one, and we would have approximately $13,000 into this truck and have a 2-year warranty on the transmission. So I told him, Ron was yes, Sheila was no. I was split in between because I wanted your guys' input because I'm on the wagon on both sides. I understand his thought of only having $13,000 into it, but I also don't like dumping money into older equipment either, when, 1983, 1984, but I had never seen it. He said it's in really nice shape, and I knew you would have something to say, Ron.
I voted no against buying that truck. But I was told, and I was told repeatedly, that come the time that we really need one of those trucks, that we can get almost 100% truck because we are replacing a truck. If we don't have the truck, then we pay the price. But because we have the truck, we don't pay the price. It's a replacement cost.
If we was able to get a grant, it'd be 5% federal grant.
Yes.
Did you say 5% federal grant?
We'd pay 5%.
So,
Is that as is?
I saw the truck when it came in. Now it needs a $6,000 transmission on top of everything else that it needs. I'm opposed to it. I knew this would happen. I said that in the meeting that it would happen. It would get here and we'd start spending money on it. That truck needs to go parked out and back and sit there until the time comes that we need to trade for something. Why we would want to spend $6,000 beyond me. I'm done.
I doubt it.
So, I mean, something you guys think about. You can talk about it now or think about it now. Have it in the minutes for next week.
My personal opinion, and I agree with Ron wholeheartedly. I mean, to me, it's an overkill to begin with. I don't think we need it.
But we have it.
That's,
And it's gonna be
we got a lot
worth
of things, but do we need it? You know, and it's just like the vac truck, the same thing. We keep putting more and more money into stuff.
I think we should go ahead and vote.
The truck still has value that's usable if we get it fixed. And we didn't spend $1 million to get one.
You guys want to vote?
Need a motion?
Is there any more discussion about this?
When he says there's other repairs though, what other repairs are you?
Repairs, everything else is working.
The night I looked at that truck, there's wires hanging everywhere.
It's all been taken care of.
It's all fixed.
Mhm.
She's road ready. Put a transmission in her and head for Florida.
That's what you wanna do.
Better take a bicycle with me for riding on to the service station.
I don't believe so.
We don't need a damn ladder truck in this town. We don't have guys set up and certified for it. By the time you get that big old truck set up, it already burnt down. So,
The firemen are receiving training on the truck, Ron, from someone from another department, is that
We
correct?
have used it on trainings. It is beneficial.
What about the insurance rating? Is there any advantage on the insurance rating?
Once the pump passes test.
When will that,
That's where we need to be for ISO rating,
that
so,
truck's too old to give you a good ISO rating.
as long as the pump's passed, doesn't matter how old it is.
Then why do we keep buying trucks?
I hope you say that when you tell me you want to fire, we're
Yeah.
one of those other trucks
Why-
that you keep telling me is old.
Write it down.
Why do we update our trucks if that's the case?
There is a standard for first engine out. Has to be less than, it's now 15 years old.
I'll make the motion that we repair the ladder truck.
We have a motion that we repair the ladder truck. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Ridgway,
No.
Barth,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Beverly,
No.
Baker,
No.
Bassett.
No.
How many no's was that?
Four.
Okay.
That was gonna come after you.
Oh, I know, I was sitting here, just,
Contemplating, I could tell.
I was contemplating.
Tie.
Well,
The next item we talked about was First responder class, they have 4 interested individuals that would be willing to be on a schedule, so they're still kind of looking into it. They would want to make sure if those individuals had the same requirements as the EMTs for amount of training and time put in during each week. And then Police Chief Stickney came and he was talking about the 911 box in front of the police department. And they put over $500 in it to get it fixed, and now it still won't work again. They keep dumping a lot of money into it. With everyone having cell phones and everything nowadays, they were recommended getting rid of the 911 box out front, and it was voted 3-0. The committee agreed to let them get rid of that. Also, Police Chief, during his report, he has a part-time individual that had left the department, and he has somebody that he'd like to fill that position with. And we give a 3-0 blessing on the individual that he's going to tell the mayor about. And also he talked about the Crown Vic. This is a year that they're scheduled to get another police vehicle, and instead of trade in the old Crown Vic, they'd like to keep the Crown Vic. It's 2011 with under 100,000 miles on it, and they wouldn't have to really do anything with it. They already got the radio. They're not going to transfer the radio to the new one. Everything's kind of outdated. The light bar stays in it. They would still like to keep it, and Ron said he'd approve of it as long as they kept it marked and as a backup car to be able to use on runs and if we got any other vehicles down. So that was voted 3-0 to allow that because there's not much trade-in value on it. Also like to investigate the cost of possibly having our own canine unit here in Hicksville. We didn't vote yes or no on anything about allowing or not, but definitely for checking into what it would cost to start up a program like that and what it would cost to maintain it. And then also, police chief had brought in a gun. It's a beanbag gun, pretty much for the most part. It's a less lethal gun. He was able to purchase some used guns for $350 each, or approximately. And it's something that you'd be able to defend themselves farther away than what they would be able to, like a taser if somebody was coming at them with a knife or something like that. Also was looking into the software system is continuing, the one we talked about quite a while ago, and they're also waiting on quotes for body cams and the mobile data terminals that would go, the laptops, everything that would go in the squad cars. So I'm going to be getting quotes on that here recently, and that was the end of our meeting. And I'll have all notes or minutes for the next meeting.
Can I guess I'll ask the solicitor, on that 911 box, I know from being in different towns when I was in the auction business, about every town I went to had them. Is there a legal thing that, or would we be subject to liability?
I don't think there's a legal thing, but the issue, I guess the issue more than anything is after hours, if somebody shows up and you know, it depends on the size of the town. Obviously, the bigger the town you get, the more likely there's going to be officers at all times in the station, even if it's only a couple of them, and obviously after hours and things like that, we might only have 2 and they might both be out on the road at a given time. So I don't believe that there's liability for that, and there's no requirement that you have to have that. And we've had this conversation 100 times about liability. Anybody with a piece of paper could sue somebody for something. So I guess somebody comes running up there and, you know, wants to use the phone box while they're being chased by, you know, somebody that's trying to kidnap them or whatever like that.
There is still a phone on the front porch of this, inside this building, in case anybody hasn't remembered that it's there recently.
But I don't think there's any legal reason to not.
Just wanted to touch bases on that.
And realistically, it's been practically impossible to keep it dependably working. So whether or not it has the out of order sign on it or not, or whether it's there or not, is kind of a moot point.
Same liability issue.
Yeah.
It's there but not working.
Yeah.
Might even be worse because somebody might rely on it and then go to use it and it doesn't work.
The only other option I see would be to open the lobby, leave the lobby open and have the phone actually inside. So it'd be out of the elements and out of the weather. Then it shouldn't be a problem keeping it working that way, but I don't know that we want to open up our lobby and leave it that way.
Thank you for your report. It's a lot to take in there. Okay, were there any other committee meetings that we don't have minutes for yet
Not a
tonight?
meeting, but the finance will meet May 7th before the next meeting to audit the books, 5:15.
May 7th, 5:15. Okay. Anything else from any committees? Okay. We will go on to the administrator's report.
I have a lot going on. It's all written down here. I was just going to touch some highlights and had a couple items come in at the last minute that I gave you some handouts on Clearview Haver Drive. The contractor would like to know when the retainage will be released. I would remind everyone, we still have the maintenance bond and we still have the 1-year warranty. So I would recommend we release the retainage and be done with this project. You saw the letter from the engineer. They're supporting us in our effort. So I don't think Troy will really have to send a letter now, since the engineers already got out ahead of that, so they know our answer. And I spoke to the contractors, Prenat and Barga, about the retainage, and I indicated to them that I would bring that up tonight, so.
How much are we holding in retainage?
Is it 43? Yeah. Yep. So there's that. May 10th, the commissioners, I got an email this evening from Maumee Valley about the bid opening for the paving of Arthur and Cornelia. That commissioner's office bid opening will be May 10th.
Can we back the bus up?
Sure.
We just walked over that 43,000 way too fast. Anybody got any opinions or anything?
Well, Troy, what do you think about counting on a maintenance bond if we are,
Well, maintenance bond's fine. I mean, if it's maintenance issues that we're worried about, I mean, that's why it's there.
and easy to use?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's what we're talking about, right? You're talking Clearview?
Yeah.
Don't they still have to do some work to the, we set up the
Swales.
swales?
That's what your maintenance bond's for.
That's what the maintenance bond's for?
Yeah, you can use it for that. You're talking reseeding and touching up the
But
swales?
they were supposed to come back in if you pay them the retain, the rest of their thing, they won't come, they won't step foot back in town and do that.
Then you've got to you pull their maintenance bond.
What's their maintenance bond? How many dollars does that amount to?
I have to look at, typical's like 10,000. That would more than cover.
10,000 would not cover what they owe the village and what it takes to finish up their punch list.
Well, that's the other thing with the water, and they're not willing to budge on the water. They want to see more evidence than just, we left a copper sleeve open, or they broke a meter, and I don't know how it was determined that 310,000 gallons was lost. I don't know, I wasn't here then. But that was the guess.
Somebody must know to say that we lost it.
Yeah, meter reading before they messed it up, and
It would have to be something like that,
yeah,
so.
that's what they did.
So I'm good with keeping the 43,000 because they'll listen a lot closer to us.
Control.
You give them that 43,000. If people remember, somebody around this table warned you about them before you give it to them. Ain't naming any names. But you need to keep this 43,000 until you get everything worked out with them for our water bills and for what they've got to do yet. And when it's a nice clean slate, fine. Here's your $43,000 minus our 8. Thanks for doing business with us.
But you still keep the maintenance bond also?
That stays through until,
That stays till everybody goes.
yeah,
Like how many years?
project completion. So it won't be years, it's just, when we declare and fill out the form that says this project is complete,
I agree with Ron.
then you're gonna be doing a letter after all, I guess. About the
But I don't know how the rest of the council feels.
retainage.
Yeah, just tell them that they owe, say, I mean, my personal thought on it is the maintenance bond is one thing, I mean, about that, but the aid is totally different. I mean, I wouldn't be opposed, other people sitting around the table might be to say, hey, we'll send you back the 43 minus the 8, and then we'll be all square on that, and then you just got your,
Well, and that's
ultimately
what I stated also,
Yeah.
is that we will
Yeah.
do that, but we'll do that after we
Yeah.
get everything that we need done.
But we have proof that this collar wasn't put on right? And we have a meter reading.
That was $9,300.
That's a lot of water. Where'd that go?
310,000
Right
gallons.
down the drain.
300,000 at 3.5 cents is about 8 grand, I suppose.
I would have gone down the drain. It's a water meter, probably went to the creek. So we're
Yeah.
not charging them for the sewer,
No.
just the water.
Right.
Well, I think that's fair.
But what bothered me about this whole thing, they never responded to the letter. But we sent them the bill, basically.
Right.
You know, now
Is
they're.
that what you did? Is that what happened? They got sent a letter?
It was in a bill, a letter and a bill.
So you
They
say
ignored it?
$43,000 and they'll never respond to you again.
Yeah.
As long
Do you
as
have
you
a copy
do
of
this.
the bill?
No, Kent said he left it on the board in the office.
Okay.
Anyway, EMH&T is on our side, apparently with the other issue, the 14,000, that they're renegotiating. They came down from 40,000, and they renegotiated for the embankment excavation and ditch grading and all that. So there will still be that issue, and, you know, if needed, then Troy will be.
How can that be, I must have read this wrong. I thought they conceded that on the
That's it.
2009.01, that building a ditch includes the linear grading with specified alignment detailed in the contract documents and within grading tolerance, which we had all that.
Yeah, that was the whole core of the discussion,
Of the 14,000.
was the linear grading and the actual
Right.
definition of
So-
linear
So
grading.
that's
Yeah.
that's done. As far as I'm concerned, that's done. I mean, the architects are agreeing with us. We know the Ohio State Code, per that section, says exactly what they said there. 14,000 doesn't even count anymore. It's over with.
Well, I can let them know, then they will receive the retainage when we receive our 8,000 or so, whatever the dollar amount was for the water.
And completion
Completion of the
anything
project.
the
Right.
punch list
Right.
to arrive at project completion.
Yeah,
or
we
sign off.
still have one more punch list on that anyways.
Put that in the form of a motion, please, Ron.
You're gonna do that, or I'm gonna do that? It doesn't matter to me, but I just wanna make sure.
Might have more punch if you do it, I suppose.
You can give me the exact figure for the water.
Yeah.
I make a motion that we consider this dirt linear grading and everything, $14,000. That's over with. We don't know it. We retain the 43,000 plus. We get them to complete everything so that we can do a project completion, exit contract. And at that time, we will give them back their 43,000 minus our $8,000 water bill.
I'll second that motion.
Roll call, please.
Give you a copy of that letter.
Barth?
Yes.
Ridgway?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
Beverly?
Yeah.
Baker?
Yes.
Bassett?
And Troy, am I
Is this who I
understanding?
should send it to?
Troy will be sending a letter? Okay.
This guy that he was,
This is the gentleman from
yeah,
the underground.
yeah, that's who I'm gonna send it directly to.
Is that the vac truck?
The ladder truck.
Okay,
Oh.
would you like to go on, Tim?
Yes.
You ask.
April 19th, this Thursday, Andy Gall, our Ohio EPA representative, will be here. We're going to meet at the sewer plant, and, correct?
Oh, the shop.
Or meet at the shop this time, not the sewer plant. And we're going to take a look at our surface water issues on Chicago Avenue, which I noticed it really drained quickly this time. I had over 2 inches of rain over the weekend, and the problem out there in the problem area everyone knows about, it's gone now. It's pretty much all drained away, so that's a good sign. But the previous time, it was there for 4 or 5 days after. But we had more rain, that 4-inch rain, so. Yeah, that could be part of it. So that'll be this Thursday. It's a separate attachment on Haver and Clearview. Had a busy week. I've got, I've showed all the team members the weekly tasks and activities that I keep track of everybody each week. I don't know if anybody's interested in seeing that from time to time, but we had
Did you
a,
include that in our package?
no.
No?
If you want to see all this minutia, Ron, we're welcome to it. I'll just email it to you.
Okay.
And there was a 10-inch main break at Charlie's that was all hands on deck on Thursday, and the crew responded real well. I was really concerned. There was, you know, it was a dangerous situation. It was a deep hole. So, but everybody's fine, and we got it fixed, and hallelujah.
I appreciate you guys getting it on. Water back to the school.
Yeah. Now, did you
kids aren't-
totally lose pressure or just have low pressure?
We had 14 pounds or less pressure.
Yeah, yeah. I'm working on an invoice right now for the contractors involved, and I'll have Mr. Ridgway deliver it.
I think we lost all sorts of
I was
product
wondering how
food
that
and
would get
everything
paid.
else like that on it. No.
Are they?
Jim Whirlers is interested in the garbage truck when we had that meeting, so they are interested
No, they're not anymore.
as of,
Last meeting I mentioned something about it.
we had the meeting just here, what day was that?
Thursday?
Yeah.
Oh, I met with their guy. He came out, the maintenance guy came out, I forget his name, Doug. And he
Okay.
looked it all over, up one side and down the other, and
At our
he,
meeting we had Thursday, he was gonna talk to their maintenance man, so they got back to you since then, since Thursday?
no, they have not.
Thursday, they're still interested,
Okay.
so,
So it sounds like it's a communication link between them and
Yes.
their maintenance guy, and
yes.
they'll probably go to Mike first, and,
Okay, so that's,
yeah.
as of Thursday, they were still
Okay.
interested.
Is Cooper's Farm still interested?
I called him, and they're kind of looking more for a front loader, kind of like, and that's what Whirler told me, or the maintenance guy, was they'd rather have the front loader where the driver can at least look into the bin before he dumps and make the determination, whoa, I don't want that in there, so,
Anyway, as of Thursday, they're still on board a little bit.
okay.
Speaking of whirlers and garbage, have we furnished the PD and your office and this office? Have we got them dump totes?
We have one,
Yes.
we have one, as of the end of last week.
You have those?
She said we did.
And we know where to park them.
Huh?
And we know where to park them. The guys do not have to do trash, only
Exactly.
uptown. One
Wonderful.
guy, one day a week.
The cans uptown.
You know, there's somebody.
Cheryl cracked the whip on me.
Good job, Cheryl.
Bullying you around, huh?
Are we supposed to get recycling also?
No.
We can make it happen.
They should.
Saying we could use a second bin if we're not gonna, what do we have to do to second bin then?
I didn't get a recycling.
You have that much trash, really?
Yeah.
You guys got a lot of garbage.
Yeah, we do, all the time, we deal with it every day. No, we have there's a lot of paper that gets recycled.
Oh, yeah.
Recycled.
Don't say that.
That takes a lot of space. We also have, of course, next door, there's the veterans thing that they have a little bit of trash too that gets added to ours.
That was our concern too. We had 3 regular
Noticed.
trash cans. The lid was popped open, but it wasn't so full that, you know, but it was full.
We normally would have 2 large trash cans full, not quite as big as that, but I know we're gonna have an overflow.
Didn't
So-
there used to be a dumpster out back there?
We don't have a dumpster now.
I mean, but
I don't know how long ago, it hasn't been there. for-
We were taking all of it to the sewer dumpster, at the sewer plant.
I mean, this is probably back in Lori's days or something, but I thought one set over there, just one of those, just like that wide at the top.
Smash it.
Whirler said they would work with us.
That might
Very.
be more fitting for me, maybe even both places.
So
Just let them know.
Well,
can the
that's-
chief get with you, Jim, or Mike, and
With Mike.
get worked out with what you two need? Okay. Sounds good.
Trying to keep Mike as their main point of contact, because it was, when I came on in October, it was confusing who was doing what, and so I'm backing off.
Okay. Do you have more to report?
Nope.
Okay. Well, you have the administrator's report in front of you with the attachments and everything, and does anybody have any questions about anything that maybe add in here. There's a lot of information in here, Jim, thanks.
You're welcome.
Maybe more than what I wanted to read.
Don't tell him that.
Send it to-
That'll be
send
this
it to
big
Ron.
next week.
Send it to
It's
Ron.
all
He wants
very
to read it.
important, however.
This was an example of the invoice I'm
No.
preparing. So I just put that in there as a draft, but,
For your hourly rate for,
To set forth rules and regulations for the continued and future use of the water and wastewater facilities by properties outside of the territorial limits of the village of Hicksville.
Solicitor, can I ask you a question?
Yes, you may.
Last one for the night.
Sure.
In regards to this,
Mhm.
do we have written anywhere, I would think that we do for development, where it says that anybody putting in these additions or extensions at their cost? Correct?
Well, this is all talking about people that, yeah, I mean, if you're putting in, I don't think there has to be something said anywhere.
We don't want any gray areas of some of the,
It's no gray area. I mean, we're gonna,
about whose cost it is to do that,
I guess I'm missing
to
the,
put the actual infrastructure in.
what's the developer's cost that? I mean, that's,
Where does it say that?
I mean, we gotta cover every single scenario. I mean, we're gonna have a 10,000 page code book if we cover every scenario like that. And say, if you put a house in, you gotta run your own electricity. The village is responsible for that.
Okay.
No, I'm just saying, if we do all cover all those, I mean, it falls into the same category.
But you don't think that somebody could read this and go, okay, I'll annex my property and then the village will have to put in all my infrastructure.
No, I don't read it that way, but
Okay.
I know how people are, but I know what you're saying.
Would anybody make a motion to approve this if you're so inclined?
I make a motion.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Ridgway. Jones.
Yes.
Baker.
Yep.
Bassett.
Yes.
Beverly.
Yep.
Barth.
Yes.
And ordinance 2018-03, third reading by caption only, an ordinance adopting section 903.02 of the codified ordinances of the Village of Hicksville, Ohio, to regulate excavations in the right of way.
Make a motion to approve.
I second.
I got a question before we vote. Make sure I got this right. Just $10, right?
Yeah, it's just a nominal permit fee, just so
They
they
still
got
have to, if I read this right, they still have to get it fixed, but the $10
Right.
wouldn't hardly,
That's not what it's for. It's just to
Okay.
make sure it's really to make sure they got liability insurance is what it
okay,
is.
like
So
a major utility.
So we know they're doing something.
it's an administrative fee.
It's administrative
Okay,
fee,
yeah.
basically.
Okay,
It's not to cover like the cost of the repairs or anything.
okay, I got it.
Roll call, please.
Baker.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Ridgway.
Yes.
Barth.
Yes.
Beverly.
Yes.
Bassett.
Yes.
And then ordinance 2018-04, a second reading by caption only, an ordinance authorizing the village fiscal officer to transfer funds. Then resolution 2018-03, first reading by caption only, a resolution for the Village of Hicksville, Ohio, authorizing and ratifying the execution by the village administrator of an offer to purchase with the Hicksville Exempted Village School District for the purchase of vacant land on West Arthur Street and declaring an emergency.
I move we suspend the rules.
63.
We have a motion to suspend the rules.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Ridgway.
Yes.
Barth.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Beverly.
Yes.
Baker.
Yes.
Bassett.
Yes.
And then second and third reading of resolution 2018-03, a resolution for the Village of Hicksville, Ohio, authorizing and ratifying the execution by the village administrator of an offer to purchase with the Hicksville Exempted Village School District for the purchase of vacant land on West Arthur Street and declaring an emergency.
That's so moved.
I'll second that.
Are there any questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Baker.
Yes.
Bassett.
Yes.
Beverly.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Barth.
Yes.
Ridgway.
Yes.
And you'll see in that, just as a point of discussion, besides the ratifying everything in there, it authorizes the mayor and Jim and myself or whatever to take whatever steps are necessary to complete that contract and to get it transferred into our name. Stan Yoder is handling the sale on the school's behalf, the real estate portion of it, and he and I talked last week, and there is some thought that needs to be, originally Diane had called me because Hannah, I think, had called and asked her. They have surveys that were done of the 3 individual lots. It's kind of confusing. I guess I could have brought the survey, but it actually comes out of 2 different lots down there where they're surveying them. And so one of the questions that Stan had asked me is, did we want the 3 individual lots like that, or did we want it described as one? And it's really preference from our end. Short of it'll require 3 splits instead of 1. If the school splits them into 3, like they have the proposed description already, which was attached to the sale information and everything, but it's still at the point that it could be described as 1. It doesn't make a difference per se from a real estate or a tax issue. I guess if you had 3 separate, the one advantage would be, and again, that's going down the line a little bit to see whether we could even do it, but if we wanted to, I know there was another entity that was interested in.
That's why I think it would be better to do it as one, so that future generations in our seats would not be as prone to want to
Sell something off, yeah. And that was the only thing, was if, I know there was discussion about the church was interested in that one lot, and if, we were inclined and even had the ability, which I'd have to research, to transfer them a little bit to help them out, I guess either way it could be done. Even if it's one description, you could get it surveyed off, or they could pay to get it surveyed off.
That's more work.
Yeah. Or 3, so, that was the one question that still late Thursday or so, Stan asked me if we had any thoughts on, and like I said, from the school's perspective, it's the difference between doing one split from their other land, because, correct me if I'm wrong, you guys still have the land there behind, like where the practice field is and stuff. So it'd have to be split off from that no matter what, but it would be one split instead of 2. So I don't know if anybody's got thoughts on that.
I think we should keep it as a group. Anybody else?
I agree with you. 1 split.
10 years down
You're
the
right.
road,
20 years from now or next year, financially, we need some money. Just this would kind of slow it down a little bit. I mean,
My other concern is if you keep it as 3 and you have that one lot you'd like to sell, I think legally we'd have to put it up for auction to sell it too.
Yeah, that's when Diane and I had talked about that. I think we probably would. I don't think there's any way even if we wanted.
Even though we
were
have
being
good
good
intentions
neighbors.
to give it there, and maybe it goes to somebody different completely.
Right.
so maybe it's a dumb question, but we're having a public notice to split these into 3. Does that have to be done?
No,
That's only to split it off from the school property, isn't it?
that is, but if we only want it as 1, they can split, we can still modify that.
Okay, that's what I was
Okay.
wondering. It's already here for 3.
Yeah.
So,
Like I said,
done.
Stan and I just had I think part of the problem was, like happens a lot of times.
That's
if
just the
somebody wants to be in
transfer.
that business, he didn't get talked to until after the fact, it's not like in advance they were planning for it, and so he was calling me, asking me, some questions on how we would prefer it, so however we want it, we can make it happen.
But you need to know this. So
Yeah, we need to let them know soon.
Leave as is.
I would make a motion so we can get an official vote that we leave it as one unit and.
Well, it won't be, just so you know, it'll be you want it one legal description. It's not leave it as 1 because it's already being split from another one.
Correct.
Yeah. You want it as
So you
one lot
want
as
it as
opposed to
1,
3.
yeah.
One as opposed to 3.
We have a motion.
I'll second that.
Because it's already.
Roll call, please.
Baker,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Ridgway,
Yes.
Bassett,
Yes.
Beverly,
Yes.
Barth.
Yes.
Okay. Would you like to?
Yeah.
Troy?
Yeah, sorry. Investment policy is fine. Charlotte asked me to take a look at that. It actually, there's been one minor change in the revised code on the investment policy since we last passed it. It was in a subsection of the approved investments, and because of the way ours is written, trying to make this an easy way to explain it, but we basically said in our policy, according to the provisions set out in such and such B, they added one into that. So we didn't name them all specifically, so we're still covered, in other words. That was there was one minor change in 2016, I believe. So we're good on that. I'll skip around here for a second. RCAP Asset Management, Jim tells me that that's already in the process and being taken care of. Is that true? So, and then we talked about the letter to underground utilities. The fireman turnout gear, I need a number. And then I can have that. I got the refuse ordinance about 90% done. So if Scott gets me that number, my intention would be those three: the ordinance, the refuse ordinance, the fireman turnout gear, which if you remember, has to do with the bags no longer being needed for, public use or whatever, and authorizing them to be used that way. And then the beautification committee vehicle, I guess I need some figures on that. I was copied on emails to do with insurance issues to do with it, but do we have specific?
What that involves is what I thought you were gonna do,
Okay.
between you and Cheryl, was explain to village
Okay.
council about the ability of the insurance company to insure a truck for the beautification committee that is owned by the village but operated by volunteers.
There is a way, Conrad has said that he basically, and again, I put that all in his hands, and he knows a lot more about that stuff than I'll ever know. That's his business. But there were concerns initially that if the village purchased a truck and then it was operated by volunteers who aren't employees of the village, that we'd have an insurance issue if ever there was an accident when one of them was driving, and/or it may convert some of those volunteers actually to being considered that they were employees. And so, I'm trying to remember, was it you that was talking to Conrad initially? I got copied on the emails and reviewed them all, and he initially was not in favor of that at all and thought it was gonna be a problem. And then after discussing it with some of his underwriters there, he did get the okay from them that we could purchase a truck and use it, have volunteers use it. As long as they were, I mean,
Council has to make them
you have
authorized
to make them authorized on the,
in a resolution or something.
yeah. And we would have to make specific people, was my understanding, but a classification of people, members of the committee, the current members of the beautification committee or whatever, as authorized
Easier to make
users.
them an LLC and let them be their own entity?
I mean, that wouldn't be for us to do, but they could, yes. I mean, from a legal standpoint, they could, and the question would be then, funding, I guess, would be the issue. I mean, I don't even know this off the top of my head, what type of funding do they receive now?
They are under the umbrella of the Hicksville Community Service Center, under their 501c3.
Right,
And our funding comes from having an annual plant sale.
right. So they're not receiving any money from the village per se.
There is a little money in the
Okay,
budget
there
if
is.
we need it, but, well, you're paying a part-time employee for the beautification committee. There is a little money in there for the beautification. We've never dipped into it other than for payroll, I don't think, but
And so they don't really need an LLC because they're already technically operating under the Community Service Centers LLC as far as nonprofit corporate protection. So that's not the issue. It all came down into an insurability issue, not even really a risk issue, but just a insurability is the way I would say it. Is if we do this and they use it, no different than if you owned a company and you let some, you had your vehicles insured and you just let your neighbor or somebody use it. That was what Conrad was concerned about. But he did last week, I believe it was, or maybe at the end of the week before, send an email that said his underwriters would okay signing off on that.
so that will require you to bring legislation?
We would have to pass something saying, well, I think I may have to check with them as whether or not we have to acquire the vehicle first or not. That was the one thing that wasn't clear, is whether we had to specify that because we don't want them to be authorized users on any village vehicle. It would be
On a particular one.
on a particular one, so we may have to acquire the vehicle first, then pass the resolution and say that members of the beautification committee are authorized users on the 2000 and whatever.
My insurance company won't add anything to my policy until I give them a serial number.
Right.
Well, would you get a rough draft then, and
Yep.
as soon as the minute we get a vehicle, we can get to work with it?
Yep.
Thank you. That is if council approves it, when the legislation comes. That will help the beautification committee quite a bit because they're, you know, as wonderful as the water wagon has been with the little lawnmower, it is like a little chug, chug, chug to get to the edges of
A
town.
lot of drive time.
And it'd be nice to have something to haul mulch and dirt and all kinds of stuff. So it'd be very helpful for the beautification committee. And yes, I know, I have a conflict of interest.
So you're gonna make a mobile tank to set in and out of the truck?
We would like a tank to sit in and out of the truck. It won't be a 125-gallon tank probably, but
It could be more.
something we could lift.
Oh,
You
no,
know.
you've got, the city's got 2 forklifts with, or skid steers with forks on them.
That's true, but we don't want to have to rely on the village employees to do our work for us any more than we have to, in my
They
opinion.
both park in the same building.
Maybe I should just learn to use the forklift.
Ooh. Oh, that's
I
always
think
good.
Conrad might have more concerns about that than he does the village work.
Just kidding.
Of course, I've always wanted this building torn down.
You have little faith in me. All right.
Then on the Sherwood thing, I have a draft of that contract done. I ran into their new village solicitor, and we talked initially about it or whatever. He's gonna look it over and see where we go from
And I
there.
know.
Did you say it is done?
That's
I
what they
drafted
gave
it.
everybody in Lincoln.
And he has it.
He does not have it yet. I ran into him and we talked about it, but I will get it to him forthwith.
Who's their solicitor now?
What's our drop,
Chris Walker, he's an attorney out of Bryan.
Okay.
what's our drop dead date?
I have to check with. It's June
Or July.
June.
Okay.
It's June.
Okay. Is that all you have? Does
Yes.
anyone have any questions for Troy? All right, we will go on to the department heads. Police Chief Stickney, please.
We already have it?
This one. These are nice.
Thank you, Chief.
Peeling tires.
Okay.
Is this a year-to-date report or just March?
That's for
Just March,
That's
okay.
March, yes. I have to wait until April's completely over before we do April's.
All right.
Okay. Let's see, most of the stuff Mr. Bassett mentioned already. We did have, I'll bring it up to you guys to inform you what's going on with this, but we did have one of the part-timers that we just hired, Mike Cropshow, resigned last month. It looked like it was going to be a really good thing to have him on because he had a 4-day-a-week work schedule where he had 3 days off a week that were rotating days, and it looked like that would really be beneficial to us. However, he got another part-time job that's like 10 minutes from where he lives, so with him living by Toledo, it's a lot more beneficial or advantageous to him to do that part-time job than here, so he decided it'd be best for him to resign. Replace him, we have Christopher Taylor, who's interested in coming on part-time. He was a full-time deputy sheriff for about 5 years and had been with the sheriff's office before that. He comes highly recommended from the people I've talked to. What I'd like to do is I already brought him before the committee, have them recommend to the mayor, and then if the mayor is of mind to recommend to hire him to the council as a part-time officer.
Did he work for those 5 full-time years from 2009 to 2000?
It says in there from 2012 to 2017.
Yeah, he just.
He worked for Defiance SO?
Yes.
Oh, there it is, okay.
He graduated from high school here. He's a local guy. He
Part-time.
lives about 5 minutes away from here. It's not that he has any problems with the sheriff's office, but when he has to do stuff with the sheriff's office, he usually has to go all the way to 20-minute or 30-minute drive to get there versus just being 5 minutes to come here. So it would be a similar thing to the reason why Mike Cropshow quit here to go there, would be the same reason why Chris would be quitting the sheriff's office to come work here.
Did we have any money invested in crop
The
showing?
cost of a physical.
physical drug screening.
Yeah, whatever, yeah, that costs.
Uniform? Yeah, get a uniform.
No, not yet.
He doesn't have any equipment we need to get back from him.
Nope.
or anything.
Nope.
Well, I would recommend Christopher Taylor as a part-time patrolman. I guess that's the correct term.
think that's what we
Pending, I don't know, do y'all want to, we do drug
Background check,
screen and
drug
physical
screen,
and
yes.
background check on everybody? Okay.
I would support the mayor's recommendation.
I'll second that.
Roll call, please.
Ridgway,
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Baker,
Yes.
Barth,
Yes.
Beverly,
Yes.
Bassett.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Also, just to bring up to date, we did have the software training, as was mentioned. We'll be starting training on it next week. Originally, they told us it might be September, October before they get it. It's going to be a go-live date of probably in May. So that's moved up considerably. Things are going well with that. We'll be getting the final quote on the MDTs this week, and the same way with the body cameras. And I would also like to mention, let's see,
The third one.
that we would, I'm sorry, I didn't catch that. That we would be starting here with the weather getting better and everything, we're gonna start going after the junk vehicles again. So people can have a heads up that they need to get them taken care of or will be taken care of.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
I do have one question.
Yes,
What is the law for the no front plate? I mean,
you have to have a front plate.
right, I mean, when you
Mounted.
put it in the dash, is that legal?
It's gotta be
It's gotta be
mounted properly,
mounted.
mounted
Okay.
properly, yeah.
Because I heard different stories and I just wanted to clarify.
This is the clarification.
Thank you.
It has to be mounted properly. It
Right.
can't just be laying on the dash.
All right, thank you.
And I will say this, there are some things there there may be citation for, like the displaying the white light to the rear. There was a citation issued for that. Normally, that would be a warning stop, but when we do the stop for that and discover that the person is drunk or under suspension or whatever, we go ahead and cite for the reason for the stop. That's why we don't normally go out and cite people for having a cracked taillight or whatever, unless it leads to something else. So that's why that looks that way. We're not trying to be real nasty people or anything. That's just how we do it, so.
What's the third one down, the ACDA?
Assured clear distance ahead. So if somebody rearing somebody, or that's also if they run into the viaduct too, that would be the same for that, so.
That's a losing battle.
It's about once a month.
Not in March, it wasn't.
Any other questions for the chief?
Thank you for
Thank you.
giving us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, fire chief?
The only thing I have tonight is a reminder, Ladies' Day out, April 28th at the fire station. Time to start? 9 to 2.
It's always a lot of fun.
It's always packed.
Yeah, it's great. Anything else? I'm trying to think
I can't think of
if I need to
anything else.
remind you of anything.
I don't have any applications out, so.
Yep. All right, thank you.
All right, thank you.
And EMS chief?
One of the things I would like to do is I talked with the mayor and I talked with Cheryl, is to get the EMS more visible within the community. And by doing that, I think we can hopefully recruit more EMTs. With that being said, we are going to be going down to the senior center and doing some vitals checks for people down there, no charge. I also want to remind people that they can come to the station and get their vitals checked for free at any time. Somebody's there Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to midnight. So if you come in at 11:30 and need your blood sugar checked, it can happen. The mayor and I had talked, and she made a great suggestion that she would like to maybe see us go down to the park with all the ball games and everything. So we're going to make that happen. So like I said, we just want to make sure that we're being visible, and everybody knows that we're there for them, and that's all I have.
And if people do want to come to have their blood pressure checked or something, they would come to the back door of the fire department?
Back door to the fire department, and come into the, there's a door right next to the steps, that's open from 8 AM until midnight. So and they can always call the phone number, and just to make sure that we're there and we're not on a run. If they would have been here this weekend, chances are they probably would have been on a run. Since Friday to today, we've had 8 runs. So we are busy. So,
You guys have been extremely busy.
yes. Well, right now, we're almost at 150 calls for the year.
Wow.
So
Keep billing them.
We appreciate your hard work on the billing.
thank you.
And I heard that the floors at the fire department got cleaned recently, and they look beautiful. Stop over and see them. I haven't done it myself yet, but I've taken Scott's word for it. I'll bet they do. Okay, Val, do you have anything that you would like to talk to us about? Looks like things are gearing up in the park. Been seeing a lot of cars down there, and
Baseball.
And I gave the police chief the park board's message that they would like it enforced, that people are not parking on the grass where there are no parking signs. So we'll see if that's doable. Anybody have any questions for Val?
I do have them, maybe the police chief. Remember we talked about the party hours? Did we ever post a sign?
I haven't seen any signs yet.
We're waiting on them.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're ordered.
Yeah, we've got them, but we didn't have the sign we took out, was kind of had a hole in it and was beat up. We split that up into, took some of the things off of it, but because there are separate signs for leashing your dog and cleaning.
Been up forever.
Yeah, and cleaning up, so. There's that other sign though. Where do we get that sign that I think you sent us in an email? It was very colorful, it was about getting out and exercising and.
Oh, that was going to come from the Defiance County Health Department about encouraging exercising.
So there'll need to be a decision made on where we put that.
Val gave me some ideas of where it could go, but I'd like to see it before we figure out what.
I read that.
What did I say? Oh, okay. Yeah, I get it. Okay. Oh, you guys are always thinking.
We talked about the old well house, that white building.
You did, I did.
Yeah, maybe putting it there or over by Adventure Alley.
That's what I thought. Or back by the track.
I'm not sure really how it's going to attach yet, whether it's going to have strings or
We'll have to wait and
grommets or what, but
Yeah, we'll have to wait and
Is
see,
it
I
a
guess.
banner like thing? Or is it a sign?
it kind of looks to me like the picture they showed me on the wall at the health department, that it's going to be taller than it is wider. So I don't know. I imagine one of these days I'll be down there and maybe they can give it to me. I don't know.
Should we just text it to them? Would that be easier to get it to them, since everybody kind of goes more that medium? Just send it to them on their phone. Just a thought.
The sign?
Sure.
Well, we have had an offer in the past to do text messages for, like the school does, to send out phone messages.
City of Defiance does it, like, today they started construction on the one roundabout by the new school. That got a text that said like, Palmer Drive will be closed for the next 45 days or whatever. Or there's a water main break somewhere.
I thought that. Bruce Silcott talked to me about quite a while ago, and I thought it was a really good idea, but, we didn't follow up on it. But I thought it would also be nice for the residents to be able to get texts about things going on in the village. I don't know what the cost would be or anything like that, but something we can talk about. So, going on to the fiscal officer's report.
If you notice, you have 2 statement of cash position with month to date, because the first one is dated April 2nd on the top, and it's the first quarter, has the totals on it, and the other one is through Friday. And also have the mayor's court and the police department collections for the month of March. And on the table tonight, I put our first liquor license renewal that I have to answer.
Oh, this isn't a renewal, this is a transfer.
Transfer.
Justin Kuhn would like to transfer his liquor license to Casa Grande. And so typically what we used to do is we would give the residents a chance to voice their opinion, and then 2 weeks later, we would go ahead and bring it up and send it in.
Where's he transferring it from?
Right here. From to.
Well, and one thing that, and I did,
Got a personal one?
see, if you look down there where it says please complete and return this form, that TFRO is the transfer, and I actually called Justin to make sure I was understanding this was a transfer, and he said, yes, it is, so. Because I wasn't sure either.
I think that's been in the works for a while. It just kind of.
Got it on our table tonight.
So if you're okay with the plan, we'll just see if anybody has any reason to object to it. Otherwise, we'll just mark the box that we do not request a hearing, and if you put it on the next agenda, Cheryl, we'll give people a couple weeks to get a hold of us if they want to object. Did you mention the health fair?
No, the health fair needs to be officially approved by council.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Baker?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
Ridgway?
Yes.
Barth?
Yes.
Beverly?
Yes.
Bassett?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yep.
Anything else, Cheryl, to report?
That's all I've
Since you
got.
put your packets out? Okay. Rick Rostifer with STMA came here in the council room, and council members and HIX-TV was invited to listen to see what his plans were for offering cable, internet, and telephone service to the village of Hicksville. And this is a really great opportunity for Hicksville. I believe we were told it was like a $5 million investment here in the community, at least. And they're continuing to do work around the village. There's going to be more work that will need to be done. Crews have started coming in to clean up some of the sites where there's mounds of dirt, and they're, cleaning up that area. One of the main things is if you start in with getting the service within a certain period of time of them offering cable or whatever, you get
1
free
year.
installation.
1 year.
1 year free installation. So Larry, what else do we need to tell anybody that you feel is?
Well, the important thing is they have to buy their own router. And it's only good as your router that you buy their service. That's
Okay.
most of the trouble they have is their routers.
And how much do those cost? Do you know offhand?
Well, they supply their routers, and I really couldn't tell you right off, probably $40 or so. But
Oh, yeah.
I'd buy a better one just to make sure you don't have any troubles.
That is a good point. He said that its service is only as good as your router. And another point that he said is a lot of people's computers are not going to be able to handle the speed that they're offering. Is that a good way to put it or not?
Well, yeah.
I mean, okay.
For the most part, I don't think anybody's gonna get a gig, so, but you never know.
Okay. But there's going to be, that's great service. Nice to have them in here in our community. And I'm sure more information will follow as they get closer. So,
My understanding, the commissioners was big on getting this company here, right? They kind of took a lot of credit, sort of.
Well, Rick and the board was the ones that really got started, because they didn't get any outside money whatsoever for this project. It's all being paid by Sherwood Mutual Telephone.
Okay.
They're the ones that's taking a chance. And they did try to get outside money, but never developed.
Okay.
Okay, great.
our business and industries in Hicksville were having such a hard time with the telephone service that they could hardly do business some days. So they're really looking forward to this opportunity to.
Did he mention a price?
He just mentioned basically just call in to share what, they're hoping to have people starting to turn up by the end of June.
Great.
Farmer or Mark Center's already getting fired up.
Mark Center got one person hooked up, I understand.
2 now.
Oh, 2?
They're still splicing.
But they're special.
Yes.
I suppose you're going to be the first one in Hicksville.
I'm going to be a beta test, yes.
Okay, going on.
It's an inside job.
That would be a conflict, would it?
I would like to thank our committees. You guys have been working really hard, committees of council, meeting and taking care of a lot of issues and addressing a lot of issues. Jim's really hustling to keep up with village business, working hard. Our village employees been out, working hard, getting a lot done around the town. Hope you've seen them around. So I think things are going good. Taylor, do you care to say anything about your plans for cleaning up the community in May? Whenever you're ready to announce it, if you want to do it tonight, you can step up to the podium and just mention it.
I think you just guess you got to now.
Yeah.
Peter was already starting to write down there.
May 12th, we've got a community service day planned. Going to be mostly morning to into the afternoon. Several projects, including trash pickup, building debris cleanup, some painting, landscaping, that sort of thing. Some stuff down in the park as well. We're going to have a sign-up sheet or a sign-up website going out here this week, hopefully. Hopefully get as many people involved as possible. Hopefully I have to go find more projects. So.
Who's this through?
Myself. Nobody in specific.
We are very pleased that you have taken on this project to do. It's always nice when someone steps forward and does something good for the community that helps everybody.
Volunteering, that's great. To get them out there and get them volunteering, there's
We're hoping that
nothing better to.
everybody says it's a good idea, so hopefully the people that say it's a good idea turn up to help, yeah.
So where would they find the site at?
We are going back and forth between 2 sign-up websites right now.
Okay.
I'll have that hopefully confirmed tonight, and then I'll push it out via Facebook, and I can forward it onto email and that sort of thing as well.
Okay, that'd be great.
So,
Would you take cash donations to help with the material? You know, you said painting and landscaping.
so far, the projects that we have organized, the organizations already have funds allocated.
Okay.
Cash, actually, I say that, but we're most likely going to need some funds for dumpster rental for the building debris cleanup. I guess you could reach out to me. I mean, we don't have any entity set up to handle the money, so it would be, I guess, goodwill in that respect. So,
Are you talking about a general pickup?
No, not a general pickup.
no.
Just stuff that you collect, you gotta have somewhere to dump it besides down at the sewer plant.
Okay, so somebody
Yes.
can bring it to you.
Well, we're partnering with the Make America Beautiful group, so they're supplying the trash bags, trash pickup containers, and then they're supposed to be handling all of the waste that is picked up. So it's basically right-of-way, sidewalk, all the litter that people toss out of their cars, that sort of thing is the trash that we're targeting.
Thank you so much
Great.
for filling us in on that. Sorry for putting you on the spot.
No problem.
No, you're not.
Yeah, I am. I'm just excited about it. I'm happy that he's doing it. I think everybody is, so. Anyway, glad to hear we're gonna get some of those junk cars checked on around town too. That ought to help the appearance of things. So, does anybody else have anything that they would like to bring up or add, or?
Make a motion to adjourn.
I second.
Roll call, please.
Ridgway,
Yes.
Barth,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Beverly, Baker,
Yes.
Bassett,
Yes.